Okay, so I still feel so tired. I swear to God, I can sleep and sleep and sleep and just constantly feel tired. And it's like 5 now. I think I slept, I mean, I don't know. I get woke up so much. But it's definitely put on the ocean waves. Oh my God, like it like melts your brain or something. And then it is so hard to get my brain to come back into working position or something. I don't know. But I'll tell you, when I woke up, it was just pouring and pouring and pouring. And then still I wanted to go out, so I opened the door to look out, and my driveway is total just, I mean, I hadn't had this much water since the flood. The other day, when I drove across the one river, it was definitely up at the top. It was coming over, just not even in that much rain. So I'm sure it's probably over the road now. And then the other ones, but see, I'm still up. And the other ones are, I don't know how deep those are, but I'm assuming they're probably, I think they're going to reflood the whole place. But the thing that I was looking at again, because to me where I'm at, okay, I don't think that they can flood us because water's going to keep going downhill. I mean, they'd have to flood it a lot, which, that's going to come at some point. I don't know when, and I don't know how high it's going to go. But I think what I was saying. So, the, what I think that they're going to get us with is, windstorm, because the trees are, I can't even believe it. When I look across the street, when I walk to the end of the driveway and look up across the street at the whole mountain, and it's just dead looking. The whole thing is just dead trees. It's like, oh my God. And then when I just walk around the neighborhood, dead trees, drive, it's just dead trees everywhere. And it just weirds me out how people don't pay attention. Or, I mean, seriously, you think every fucking tree now suddenly has got the beetle? These people who don't think for themselves are so, like, oh, they're exhausting, man. It's just sometimes it's like, I can't even talk to them because, just weird things like saying, old people need to realize this isn't the time, things have changed. Like, I don't even know that whole lecture. I've gotten so many of them about the, old people. So funny how people think because, I support BLM, but I'm not a bigot, not me. I've got no isms at all. I love everybody. It's like, really? I haven't noticed that. I see a lot of judgment coming out of you. But, so anyways, to me, what they're going to get us with is a mud flood, some sort of unstable with the ground, which I started looking at logging roads a lot different. And I started thinking, oh, so that's kind of like they set up the route. Like, this is the way we're going to send the flood. So, if you don't know what logging roads are, because I didn't until I lived up in the mountains, then there's just these roads that lead to nowhere that loggers create, that they just go up and it's kind of like clear cutting. And so they just take out, like, you can look when you're driving by the mountains, you can look up and see how they take out like big areas and stuff. But so they have roads that they go in and it's just kind of like through the forest, just tear up these roads. And so that would be, the likely way. It's already dug in. So I'm sure that's how they set it up, because everything they do, I mean, I was just watching, something about bells. I guess apparently there used to always be like big church bells and stuff. And the reason is because it would raise the frequency of the town and it would put out a good frequency. So they confiscated all the bells. Like, we don't want bells, we want electricity. We're going to wire their houses and drive them fucking crazy. Like, okay, that's a good one. So yeah, but that's what we're here for. So, but so the wind, and with all of this mud and stuff, so who knows? I mean, it's already going in California, and it's not even one area. They've got the whole thing is a atmospheric river from the north to the south end of California is an atmospheric river. Whole towns are being washed out. Like it's a total disaster. And the thing is that got everybody focusing on that disaster. Not, I mean, there's some people who are thinking about the one that's going on underground, but that's the one that's gonna, that's gonna be the grand finale over there. I think is that whatever is going on with these other volcanoes and earthquakes are got to be affecting over here. And then with all this water, because that was what that guy said, there's going to be all these storms and the ground's going to become unstable. There's going to be a huge earthquake and it's going to devastate California. That geologist guy in 2011 or something. And he said there would be 3 big storms. And then the guy who watches the stars, he said there's about to be a big one in California. He had claimed those certain dates, but, I mean, I've seen so many things claim dates, but just because the date comes and goes doesn't mean that anything's changed. And I just saw Charlie do a video. I was like, hell yeah. And he said, okay, well, they're doing the runs on the banks now in the United States. I told you people, 2-3 years ago, I told you, get ready, this is coming. And for those of you who listened and got silver, congratulations. So it's about, he said that, and it's gonna, this is where these people are gonna learn, a lot of stuff. And this is how it was supposed to play out for them. I mean, it's not playing out differently than it's supposed to play out for them. So there's going to be a lot of devastation, a lot of really angry people. There's people running around to ATMs trying to get the money out, and they're trying to get big quantities. And I was like, you should just stand there and take it out in 20s, because I think they probably have caps and limits over how much people can get out, because there's more limited. So they're not going to let one person go up and take 500 when that's all that gets to go out altogether. So take out 20s is what I would think. But still, if you're capped at that one, you have to run around to a million different ones. This one guy was on his 6th one, and he was trying to get 500. Finally, it gave him 200. Then he tried to get 300, and then his video cut off. But I think he got 300 out of one and 200 out of another. But, there's going to be, like Charlie said, I already saw videos of over the weekend were lines and lines at ATMs. So, and the funny thing is people think ATMs are all the bank. ATMs, and most of them, unless they're hooked on to the bank, are privately owned. They're just like, those people have to go get money and take them. That's why it has all of those things, why we had to pay them to use their little thing. They get $1.50 of every transaction. I don't know how they work it with banks. If there's this, certain vendor area, like a distributor, like how there is with food, how they can control the food in restaurants and the food that is distributed to certain places, and so they have distributors places. So I don't know how all their shit works, but it's all controlled. Bet your ass on that. But so, the people who are lining up to those, it's going to be dependent on if the guy just filled his machine or not. It's not going to be the same as the bank thing. But, there's going to be enough people are going to show up at the banks. The bank run doesn't have to take the whole city. And no telling how many will, be going. I'm sure the word is spreading. My mom said the bank thing was all over the news, and it's so crazy how so many people I see sit there and go, well, that's those banks. I'm not worried about my bank. It's like, it's not the fucking banks. It's the dollar. Oh. It's like, oh, God damn. I swear to God. It makes you just want to pull out your hair and your eyeballs. Fucking just, oh, God. It's like, what does it take you people to fucking catch on, pay attention? And I completely get it, because I've talked so much to people, and it's a distraction. It's something that it keeps them distracted. That's why the phone works so good, because you have to process. You have to actually think and look. That's why it's a mastery to begin to have awareness over what you do, catch yourself doing things. It's a mastery, because try talking to people, especially if you have slowed down and you've relaxed and you've calmed down and you're still out there and the people are all like, "Rawr," you know, and you try and talk, hey, 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 hey. And you try and talk to them and it's like, hey, hey, what are you talking about? I'm trying to tell you something. Okay, yeah, but, and they're just like, all the time, like spinning out in there, you know, like they can't track. And it takes, you know, a calming down. I can't believe how, I mean, to me, I don't know. I mean, my perspective is my perspective. But to me, I say stuff that is calming, that is logical, that makes sense. And it's so bizarre how much nobody believes what I have to say. Even on TikTok, when I see it with these people, like it's madness. You see people who are just like, this happens. Well, you know, this is what's going on. And they'll sit there and say like, they know. Yeah, they have, you know, they know everything going on. It's like, dude, I may go in and do that, but I'm talking about something that I've been watching. Like this started in 2020 about the money thing. I went and got the silver then. And I've been watching this play out, and I don't get hung up on dates like other people. Like, you know, people fall apart if a date comes and goes and nothing happened. Yeah, it's disappointing, but like I've said, we're going to know the date after it happens. Then the date will have a significance. Then we'll be like, oh, you know, we'll be able to figure out like why that date, which, you know, could be that today is going to be, I mean, it's kind of surprising, you know, we didn't have any bombs going off all night. But, you know, I don't know what's going to go on today. You know, who knows what they're going to do today or what's going to happen, or maybe really the white hats have really got that much control and it's going to go real, you know, simple. Charlie said that this is the first domino. And, you know, I knew one of the things, I mean, there's going to be something that was going to go. But there's so many balls up in the air right now. It's like, it is going to be one, and it's just going to go boom, 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 boom. Because, I mean, the Joe, I mean, I can't even believe how many things I've seen. I mean, they're finding whole crates full of shit. Like, he's just got all sorts of stuff he's not supposed to have. I mean, all of these things, like a gator having a warrant out, an international warrant. The fraud is, I mean, all of the function shit that's coming out, like, there's just, everything is coming out. So I think it's going to just keep being, you know, all sorts of stuff. But, you know, I don't know if we, I mean, we're definitely, the earthquake thing is coming. And to me, what I started thinking is, okay, so if they wash out the roads, which that's what happens with the flood. So they wash out the roads in the flood, and then who's going to fix them? Because who's going to go to work? Nobody's going to go to work if they're not going to get a paycheck. That's the thing that is the big difference, is when we start building community. When we build community that we've built, that we've got something invested into it. It's something that we're a part of. Like, things go bad, it'd be more like in the, what is that Jimmy Stewart movie, that Christmas one, you know, when they did the Run on the Banks, and he goes and pulls out his, you know, he starts handing him, how much do you need? Like, right now, you know, like, we'll get through this together, you know, and that is when we come in with community. But right now, see, we don't have that. This is, you know, the dog-eat-dog world. This is, their system is going to collapse. And, you know, a lot of people are very invested into their system. You know, they've got their retirement. Everything is, and there's gonna be people who are gonna be shattered by what's gonna happen. And you just gotta keep remembering this soul. These are their lessons. They designed this whole thing. Nothing is happening to them like they think is happening. They have to think it's happening, because that is the true impact, where your soul can really get the true growth from it, the true, because like once you realize it's a game, it really changes it. But see, then you stop, like, there's still, you look at things differently. So you still get your lessons, but they don't have this impact of devastation. Like, what am I doing here? That's that come to Jesus moment. What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? What does it all mean? They have to go through that. And, but once you go through it, then you have a different perspective of it. You can see it different. But see, we have so many people who have to go through it. Some of them chose to lose everything. And remember, these are soul cycles. So, I mean, you don't know their soul journey. You don't know what karmic stuff they're learning, what they're growing from, what balances they're putting back in place. And, and I'm not saying be, like, well, who cares? This is your soul shit. I'm not saying about that, because that is your soul shit. You are looking at yourself to see, do you have empathy? Do you have compassion? Yeah, it's hard to sit and listen to the same stuff over and over. But, do you have patience? Can you sit and listen to the same shit over and over and still be compassionate to this person's pain? Or are you just like, oh my God, you're the 10th one who said the same shit today. Take it away. Go. God, it's not my problem. Because there's going to be times and days, I think, where a lot of people are going to feel like that. Like, oh my God, if I have to listen to another person say the exact motherfucking thing, I'm going to go crazy. But it is, that's why they've kind of showed me, like, this is very much an outnumbered situation. The amount of people, just as it has felt like being alone and isolated, as being the weirdo, the crazy person, and just standing back and being like, man, I wish everybody could see I'm not crazy. Now it's going to switch, and it's going to be, they're all going to be looking towards you for answers. And you're no longer crazy. Now you're the answer holder. Because how did you see it? How did you see this and I didn't see it? How do you get over this? How can you handle being lied to like this? Those kind of questions over and over, if people trying to, come into process, the huge lie that we've been all living. And, it's going to be a lot for them. And, there's a lot for people that got to learn to let go of this money system thing. It was all just created. It was a game. We've been in their game. And then they're pushing on the news, well, we won't be going back to this currency-based, and they say things to get people to panic, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to be on the digital. They're going to make us, eat crickets. They're going to, now it's like Tropicana is used as roaches for the orange juice. Fucking bitches, man. God damn, I'm so sick of this shit. Like, fuck off. God. Why can't they just feed us fucking oranges? What's the problem? I guess, that's why I say they get off on this stuff. Like, yeah, they think they're eating this, but they're eating, pink goo and bug blood. And, oh, God, I'm sick of this shit. I cannot wait for this to be done. God damn. But, so anyways, I got a cough. Hold on. My chest is really tight. There's no telling what I keep having these sneezing fits, like sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. It's like, what in the hell? There is no telling what the fuck they're dumping on us at this point. But if they do that, and there is a bunch of things that cross over the roads, then there is our trap. Right there. There won't be a way. And then once we're trapped, like, who knows? Who knows what they have planned. I can just keep hoping that the white hats really do have control. But, man, I still have not shaken the feeling something big is going to go on here. just because when they go around, the people are all just asleep. It's like, damn, something's got to wake them up. And what's it going to be? And maybe it's going to be the mothership, I guess. You know, they keep saying this mothership's coming, it's going to get us. And, you know, and I am totally on the thing of that's, if a mothership comes to get us, it's one of their blue beam hologram bullshit things. They're the ones attacking us. And then for sure stay in the house, even though they can, you know, shoot out. But it's going to be, you know, it would be to scare us and to kill a bunch of people, because that's all they want to do is keep killing a bunch of people. I don't know how many people with this flood thing, and now they're like, oh, all the snow is melting. The snow just got there. It's like, anybody who's living in some of these places is, okay, where's all the precipitation coming from? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you, you know, bullshit. Like, they're doing this stuff. And then I think they're trying to set earthquakes off underneath. Like, I don't know how much stuff is stuff that they're doing to try and do things, and how much is the earth shaken back, or how much of it is they do something and then she shakes back. But whatever is going to be, it's definitely, you know, the landscape's changing, our lives are changing, and yeah, we're not going to have currency like that. We're going to be, you know, you'll be able to barter and trade. That's why I said work on your skills. Don't work on your resume, work on your skills. What do you have to offer? What could you do? What do you look around and see, like, you know, this could be something people could need, and I know how to do it. So I'm going to work on doing this, and then and it can be so versatile. That is the creative part of people. There's the creative instinctual part, the soul. See, people don't realize that your soul is begging to live. Your soul is begging to be noticed. It's begging to be heard. And even if you're not listening, it's still in control of, you know, you can't break free from your flight plan. Your destiny is your destiny. So you can sit and stress about it and, you know, try and force things to happen and be like, nothing ever goes the way I want it. It's like, because you're not relaxing into the story. Allow the story to occur. Allow your life to show you what you're here for, instead of you trying to force something. Because trying to force things is where you get your frustration, where you get the feeling of like, nothing works out for me. Well, if you keep trying to go against what you're here for, it's not supposed to work out. You know, and just because you think you know what's best, but you don't realize that you are basing it on things that are the bright and shiny objects in this world. You know, your soul knows why it came here. It knows what it came here to do. And your soul, you know, like, to me, and I started saying this, you know, years and years ago, you want to know where your soul is. Put on some music that you like, something that makes you happy, something that makes you want to move. Put on some music, and then close your eyes. Don't tune into the room. Don't tune into any other people. Close your eyes. Tune into your soul. Let your soul feel that music. And then move. Let the soul move you. And just let it go. And you will feel. You can feel yourself. You know, you got to let it go. And that is the eyes. Keep you so uptight. People don't realize how, I mean, like, I was a type A. I can admit it. I was uptight. But people don't realize that they are all uptight because they're all so focused on, what do they think about me? What do they think about me? How am I impressing them? Am I doing enough for them? It's like, that is no way to live. And that is what your eyes are doing, is constantly making contact for your own judgment, your own projection, so you can judge yourself. You know, I mean, to me, it's like a practice. Just practice. Putting on some music and just tuning into the music, closing your eyes, feel the music. Don't just listen to it. Feel it. And, you know, and you may notice that, like, you need a level up on your music, or open up, you know, more types of music to yourself. You know, don't limit yourself. Like, don't just put on rap and think like, okay, now, you know, because that, I think, is some of that kind of more aggressive, kind of violent kind of stuff. It pulls in an energy, and then you start feeding that energy when you get all like, whoa. And that's why, like, there's so much like that energy that builds at those kinds of concerts. And that my granddaughter went to one of those the other day, and she said that people were diving off the stage, hit her into her head, and you know, the energy. Like, people don't realize they're creating energy, and there's energy out there looking for a home, looking for a place to feel good. And that kind of energy that you're pulling in builds this tension and anger and builds it up in you more. And so that is, you know, and you don't want to feel that way, then you have to be mindful. Like, you go like, well, I don't want to feel like, you know, intense and yeah, angry and all of that stuff. So put on something that makes you feel good and makes you feel calm, and notice those things. I mean, it's so fucking absurd when they've got the fucking metaverse or whatever the hell, the WEF or whatever, sitting there saying, oh wow, we can just, once they chip us all, you know, the computer will tell us how we feel today. Oh, today you're feeling very still. You're very, very calm, and you're very excited that we chose the right music for you and shit. Fuck off. I saw a commercial yesterday on Pandora. They're going hard on the meta, I'll tell you that. This fucking long commercial about how it's going to be so beneficial. Like, we're so fucking lucky to be in on this technology. You know, now kids will be able to go to school. They'll be able to go into the metaverse and actually be able to go back with dinosaurs and even be able to go in and experience that. Doctors are going to be able to go in and figure surgeries and diagnoses out ahead of time with the metaverse. Like, oh, thank you, Zuckerberg, you saved us. I'm like, fuck off with this shit. They think, I swear to God, they think we will believe anything they say as long as it has science, as well as science. Okay, well, I'm not a bigot because I believe in science. So I'm a BLM and I believe in science, so therefore I am a perfect human being here on this planet. And don't talk any nonsense to me. And it's like, that right there is the attitude, the ego. That is the one who I've said all along. They are the ones who hold themselves. They hold themselves in such high esteem, such high regard, that they can't, you know, they could never lower themselves to listen to some crazy person would like, meh, crazy people over there talking. I'm not gonna listen to her. It's like, well, you probably should have not judged and thought I was crazy. You probably, you know, you could have always listened to something I said. You could have always opened your mind and thought, is that possible? Especially when you are all about science, because all about science, isn't it looking for possibilities? Isn't it trying to come up with hypothesis like, well, would this work? Well, if we did this, okay, well, it worked that way, but what if we added this? Well, let's try this. Well, if we did that, and then we add that, but what if we need to add that, because what if it happened today? Well, what if it happened at night? Well, I don't know, we better try it again. So, see, it's all just this, so wouldn't you need to have more critical thinking? I would think so. How could you come up with enough how could you come up with enough possibilities to really make your experiment accurate? And that is kind of the same micro macro thing even for the incarnation, is because, you know, you need all possibilities. Like, there's endless possibilities. Each of us just changes roles. And from what we've learned and know in our own soul imprint, then we go in and it's a whole new situation. It's a whole new thing. So it changes that every single time. There's a word, I can't think of it, but it's the creation of the hypothesis, the asking the question, the, you know, the possibility, the what if. And so you know, there's endless possibilities because there's always a change. Well, what if we did it at night? Well, what if we did it in the day? Well, what if we did it in the early morning? Well, what if we did it at lunchtime? I mean, you just keep going smaller, smaller, smaller. That's even where they get this fucking label. And then there's a label under a label, under a label, under a label, under a label. And now these people will, you know, categorize themselves by fucking labels and diagnoses. And I'm this, 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 and this. It's like, okay, so is that all you are? Is just like, I don't know. I mean, I would see some people who start realizing, like, you know, these diagnoses, attention deficit, like, there's nothing wrong with me. That's just who I was. And then they come up with, like, oh, no, that means something's wrong with you. You know, we're going to call it this, and we've got some pills over here. We want you to all get on the pills. They want us all on the pills all the time. Get us on a pill for this or that. What was the other thing I had seen in that? Besides the bells, there was a giant in one of those photos. It was the one guy who's like, question everything, folks, because there is, I mean, they're just, the whole thing to just lie to us about, and then just to create such a toxic environment. It's so freaking toxic when, I mean, we're going to go back into this other, but oh my gosh, the amount of people who do not understand what is going on. Like I keep saying, it's going to be a huge amount of people, like a huge amount, because so many have been stuck on all of the different traumas and they haven't seen. And just like, you know, we got all these spiritual people who think they're so spiritual and they haven't even done the work. They don't even know what spiritual means. They think it means, you know, to know the names of the crystals. It's way more than that. It is connecting to yourself. It's, you know, it's moving out of the way and letting your soul take over. It's, you know, sitting in the passenger seat and not backseat driving, sitting there and just, you know, and it is, you know, it sounds like it is kind of an easy thing to do, but, you know, you're going through traffic and shit, and to sit in the passenger seat as Kelly the Avatar, and to just sit there and when something goes down to be like, okay, so what am I working on here? How do I calm myself? What am I seeing? What do I need to see? What am I, you know, all just asking yourself the questions, trying to understand each opportunity that you have for growth. And so oh my gosh, it's still is blowing my mind, I'll tell you. Like, this is happening for animals and everything. Everything is becoming into a more conscious, you know, just like the squirrels, the birds. I can't even, the birds now, every time I go out, I've got a bird that comes and just, or a chipmunk or a squirrel will just come and sit and start talking to me. Like, everything is like, we're all kind of realizing each other. Like, we're pulling into this, this reality. Like, it kind of, I don't know, kind of reminds me of in Cinderella when she is always interacting with the animals and come and sing by her and help her do things and stuff like that. Kind of reminds me of that. Like, she was just in sync with nature, and you know, they were aware of each other and could interact with each other. Because, you know, in all reality, we've all been, I mean, we could be aware, yeah, squirrels exist, but, you know, we weren't going and sitting out front and trying to get them to come and eat out of our hands or something. You know, we didn't have time for that. I got to get to work. Ain't nobody got time for that. So now it is, you know, so many people have lost their jobs and don't want to go back to work, or sick of working and getting nowhere. And so many people are losing everything, which then again, if you've got nothing, why are you going to work? It was one girl who is out there talking spiritual stuff all the time, and she has been homeless the whole time, and she has the money to move in, but she has, nobody will let her because of the credit score. So, I mean, she has her things that she talks about that helps people wake up and stuff. But then you can also, you know, I see her struggle, you know, and I would be struggling, you know, if I lost my house, you know, I'd be struggling. I'm not going to say, you know, shame on her. She shouldn't be struggling. She's spiritual. She should see. I'm just saying that there is a lot of lessons still to come for a lot of people, because just like this girl, this will make the point better. This girl, and she wants to quit her job, and she's got 2 or 3 little kids and a husband, and she can't stand her job, or she wants to quit, and she wants to try and do something different, like what I'm saying, something that's more for her or her family, and not a job. But she's scared to do it. She's scared to quit her job, you know, because that is your security blanket. You think that's your security blanket, but it's really you just running on a hamster wheel, because you're not really in sync with the universe. You're like, fuck you. There's a hamster wheel over here. I'm going to go run on this. These people will pay me. I don't trust you guys. So you're over there just running on this hamster wheel. Gimme. And they're like, oh, well, maybe today. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, just jack up the price of this. You know, they're fucking with you. And the universe doesn't do that. So this girl's, you know, running on this hamster wheel, and so she starts asking the universe, okay, if I can quit, if it's safe for me to go, give me a sign. And she says what she wants the sign to be. You know, 5 minutes later, there's the sign. Oh, no, no, it's the wrong color. No, I said a white owl, not just an owl that looks white. I said a white owl. Okay, so 5 minutes later, there's another white owl. No, but are you guys sure about this? Like, well, I don't know. I can't even tell you how many she got. I mean, it was like the signs even, she got getting 44. She looked up what 44 meant and said, trust, quit your job. She's like, this is blowing my mind, but it's getting me more scared. I mean, like, do I just do it? They're telling you. They're saying, yeah, do it. You're going to be great. You're going to be fine. But see, that's what I keep saying. People can't trust themselves to be able to walk into their own power, their own position. The universe can keep telling you, yeah, you're going to be great. You know, we got a plan. You're going to be successful. Come on over. And you're like, no, but these ones, they say they'll give me a check. I'm just going to stay here. I don't trust you guys. Like, you know, so even when they're given the sign after sign after sign, it's still a struggle, you know, to trust. You have to, it is like that stage dive. It is. You just got to let go and just trust. And something will sweep in. And, you know, and if you fall on the ground, it's because you're supposed to start from there and get yourself up. And but they will open doors for you. Things will happen for you. And if they want you to start from the ground up, it's because there's learning in there. It's not them trying to punish you. It's what you came here to learn. But, you know, wherever you start on your journey, there will be there opening doors and, you know, filling in the blanks for you. You will see magic and miracles begin to happen. So, you know, when you're motivated, especially when you're saying, give me a sign, and they give you one every 5 minutes over and over and over, and you're like, but what do you mean? Do you mean I really should do it? It's like, I don't know. What do you want from us here? You know, you gotta, like I said, like this come to Jesus moment is a real thing. You know, you got to realize these people are real. There's really, just because you can't see them, that is your limitation. You're using your eyes to look at something else. Use your senses instead of using your eyes to try and make sure everybody is approving of you. Use your senses of which direction to go. Like tune into you and your senses. It really made sense to me yesterday when I realized like how I had been in my divine feminine all that time, which I had talked about, you know, and how I relied on going outside of myself to find that masculine energy of protection. And so I was weak. I didn't protect myself ever. You know, there's a reason why I was, you know, used over and over and over again. I had no self-esteem. I didn't take care of myself. I relied on people who were abusive to be protective of me when they were just beating me down more. So, you know, I had to become my own valiant, you know, I had to come in and rescue me and start being the one who was like, stand up for myself. And You know, it's all part of the healing journey and stuff. But no matter what, you have to, you know, wherever you are on that out of balance, divine masculine, feminine, you have to do it and pull yourself into it. And then once you can be both for yourself, but where all these women are saying that they were so much in their masculine and not in their feminine, I think that is because when you're in your feminine, you have your intuition, you have your gut instinct, you are more psychic. But everybody just looks at you like, you know, like you're a weirdo. Like, oh my God, you listen to your gut. Okay, Kelly, real logical. You know, how many fucking times have I heard, you know, I have no logic. Just, you know, listening to your gut is not the way to live. And so then I was like, oh, that's because I was in my divine feminine, because the divine feminine is that the intuition, it is the connection, it's your spiritual connection and stuff. So I was too much in that. But you know, no matter what your thing is, you have lessons. Everybody has lessons. So even if you can't see somebody else's lessons, that doesn't mean they don't exist. You just don't see them, but they have their own. And everybody needs to focus on their own. Nobody needs to be focusing on fixing anybody else's stuff. Everybody needs to fix their own stuff. Everybody needs to save themselves. So don't, you know, just no matter, you know, anything that goes on, as soon as you find yourself blaming somebody, immediately, as soon as it's like, well, I wouldn't feel that way if they didn't do that. Immediately, oh, I just caught one. And then go in and be like, okay, so what did they catch? So what did they make me do? So how did they make me do that? So why in the world would I feel that way? How could they make me feel that way? Like, just reel back through it. Walk backwards through it. It's like replay, go back and go through it again and really try and find where's your wound, where's your raw spot, where can you go in and heal it. And man, there is so many now who are coming through and saying, you know, it's just like this one little thing. This guy said this one little thing, and I've been carrying this wound with me. And all I had to do was just think about it and let it go. Yeah, it's miraculous, seriously. Like how much shit we have just shoved inside of ourselves. Then they poison us. Then they put on the frequency, make us all jittery. You know, get us all on the caffeine, all on the drugs, and all on the beer and all this shit. And then, you know, it's wacky. It's wacky how, you know, there's a plant out there that calms you, that gets you to take time to sit and just reflect, to connect. You know, well, let's get rid of that crazy poison. We want people to be out here on, you know, it's like mental. So, you know, but that's the upside down. That's the backward world. But I can feel it flipping the other direction. So I am thinking today is going to be, I think this week is going to be really jam-packed, a hot week. And who knows if we're going to start, you know, California's going to start chipping away. Like, who knows if they're going to wash out the roads here and I'm going to be trapped here for a couple weeks, or who knows if anyone's ever going to come in and fix the roads again. Like, seriously, who the fuck is going to go to work when they're not going to get paid? However long it takes for them to actually crash it, because they're going to go slow, because they know that once they do it, they're done for. So they're going to try and be like, well, if we let go of this one, well, what if we try this? Well, you know, there's no saving themselves. I mean, it's absurd. But, you know, it's all they got. It's all they got. So who knows how slow this is going to go down. If it really, like, I don't understand how there's people who think like, oh, well, it's just that bank. It's just that. No, it is the dollar. It is our currency. It is our system. We were playing with counterfeit money. Now the other countries are no longer third world countries. They're going on the gold standard. They're not going to take counterfeit money for real things. You know, it's the whole system, the whole dollar, all of it's going. That's why it's absurd. These people run into the banks, but that's going to be the thing that's going to push us over the edge. And, you know, all these people run into the banks asking for their money, but there's no money. And the FDIC has already come out and said, we're taking this serious now. So, and whoever's the two forces, there's a light and a dark. And so the light's going to be coming in harder and harder. The truth's going to be showing more and more, and the people who are not prepared are going to be more and more chaotic, more and more violent, and it's going to be, and then we've got the whole instability of the weather and what's happening on the planet. So, and then we've got shit going on in the sky. I mean, like, we got so much shit. Like, you just gotta, what I have found for me is I just kind of just go from thing to thing. It really is. You just focus on something and it becomes your reality. Focus on something, and as much as you can, do your work. Every opportunity. Don't, like, oh, I'm going to distract myself. I'm really triggered. So no, don't distract yourself from any triggers at this point. Really, if you're triggered and you're stuck and you're just crying and emotional, don't forget that some of your emotions can be coming from the collective and all the energy around you at this time. So if you're just confused of why you're feeling, I always go in and ask, show me. Is there something I need to see? Is there something I'm not seeing? What do I need to do with this? Just even if you feel like you're talking to yourself, all of a sudden you're going to notice, like, whoa, somebody just talked back. I didn't say that. So just keep talking to yourself. And I tell you, you will find all of a sudden you're going to snap your head over like, who the hell was that? And you're going to all of a sudden be like, oh, that's them. Okay, wait, I can hear you. And you're going to probably get so excited in your chest. You're going to be like, okay. And then your adrenaline's going to be going. So, if you can't hear them then, just after you get yourself calm again, and then go back in. And as soon as you start recognizing that someone's saying something that you don't know, then you will see, like, oh, I'm talking to somebody. Hell yeah. And then you'll start seeing there's a whole bunch of them. They're just all out there talking. It's just where you focus. You focus on this artificial world, or you focus on the world you can't see around you. So anyways, who knows what's going to go down today. I mean, it's going to just keep being more and more stuff. I don't know. With our rain here, they're just going to rain us out, wash out the roads. Just, I know something, that would be best case. I mean, I'd much rather a road get washed out and people can't get to work and start freaking out than to have these people come over here and explode the whole neighborhood with some gas line bullshit. So, like, who knows? Who knows? I mean, we don't have any trains that are real close, but I mean, they can pull them out. I swear to God, there's no telling what they could do. They can fucking drop an airplane on us. Like, anything can happen. So, stay safe. And if you find yourself outside of your body, just know you did a good job and just go to the next place. Probably still see you on the other side, because I think a lot of people are going to gravitate over to the age of Aquarius to go in and experience it at some part. And don't forget that there's not going to be death anymore. Like, you can be able to stay there for a long ass time, as long as you want. There's not going to be any like, oh my God, I've only got 10 more years left at the best. Not going to be any of that anymore. Any more of this, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of this. There's not enough. No, there's going to be more than enough. There's going to be more than anybody could ever imagine. And I just saw something, and so many of these people are just really focused on the scary part. They don't want to think of the good part. And one of those people was just like, man, I just saw this stuff. And she's going through showing all this stuff with Nassar. And I know there's a lot of people who think this, but man, I hope you're right. But man, I don't. A lot of those people. And, I feel confident knowing I'm right. Like I said, I've been watching this play out for a couple of years. And it has been going in that direction. It's not ever been where, no, that's not how, no. And when I very first started hearing about it, it all was in alignment with everything else they'd shown me and stuff. It was with the golden age, the jubilee. It's all cycles. It's, people think they don't deserve anything. They can't imagine that they could have anything. It's like, that's the problem. You got to learn you do deserve things. You are good enough. You just beat down. And You know, a lot of people have made some bad choices for themselves and feel like an idiot. They feel like a stupid ass. You know, they just are so hard on themselves. And so, anyways, all this stuff is going to happen. But even that girl who was showing, she was saying like there's going to be all of this money that is going to go back, but so many people don't know their own value. So you can't be valuing something else when you don't know your own value. Because what's the most important thing here is for you to learn the value of you. The value of this money stuff is just going to keep fluctuating or whatever. But there's going to be a point where you don't have anything to worry about. You've got a home, you've got food, you will have everything you need. There will be nothing. Even if you want to, you know, get a boat, there will be a way for you to get it. And there is, man, I keep hearing there is so much stuff. Like if you have ideas about how to, you know, communities and what you've always thought, you know, like I always wanted to have a community that was based on art, where everybody was creative and, you know, stuff like that. You know, put those proposals out there. You know, there's going to be the need for a lot of community centers and art centers and places where people can go and interact, socialize, sell their things, sell their time for teaching, all sorts of things. So it'll be a great, you know, hub, a great center. So no matter what things that you come up with, you know, and they'll put you with more people when you start going in and doing proposals and stuff. Because Charlie was talking about that, you know, 2-3 years ago. That is going to be a big thing. That is how they're going to start putting the money into the communities before people are ready, because people won't know what to do and how, you know. So they're going to be putting it into communities and putting it into giving everybody stability and structure. So that is to go. That's why I said it's going to start out with home incentives, land incentives, agriculture incentives, community building incentives, stuff like that. So, you know, you don't get caught back thinking like you're not good enough and your ideas aren't good enough. Those are the things you're here to learn. You are good enough. Your ideas are good enough. They're in you for a reason. They're there to drive you. You know, not the things that you look around and see somebody else has. That means that you need to go chase that. No, the stuff is inside of you. And it's your desires. It's what they show you. It's your possibilities. So go out and claim your future and, you know, take a risk. Be vulnerable. Put it out there, what you want in a community, what you want out of life. And, you know, maybe it's just you want to have a nice big farm and rescue animals. And, you know, have, it can be anything, you know. It is just to get people to think for themselves and to start thinking in a certain direction. And again, you know, I think it is a thing, I mean, about the biases, you know, I mean, for him, for it to be his future cities and stuff like that. And for the people who are like, oh, you know, and even going back to the Orange Oompa Loompa derogatory name calling and shit like that. Like, people don't realize their biases will literally hold you back from moving forward. It's your biases you're here to heal. It's your biases that are your pain. It's your biases that are, you know, that is something in you. The pain, the trauma created the bias, created the protection. So it's for you to go in now and restructure yourself, you know, to release what was protecting you and see it was all faulty. You know, you don't even know who you are. So how can you protect something that you don't even know what it is? You got to let everything down and have a look, see who you are. What are you? What are you interested in? What do you want to do? You know, what do you act like in a crisis? You know, who are you in these different roles? This is for you to see now, for you to, you know, and if you don't like what you see, it's for you to pick up the pieces and shine them up and dust them off and to design you to become who you want to be. Be mindful. Your life is not out of control. You're just not you're trying to control what you don't have control over instead of trying to control what you do have control over. Once you take control over what you do have control, life becomes peaceful. And what you do have control over is your own mind and how you look at things, your perspective, your perception. So those are the things to work on. And, you know, opening your mind is the gift. It is the beautiful thing that is happening here. So anyways, I will, guess I'll get going and I'll, you know, get this one on there. Who knows, you know, if this is going to be the week we're going to lose power. But, you know, I'll keep recording and come in and, you know, you guys just stay strong and know that everything's about to change. And it's going to get it. It's going to be hard. I mean, I hate to say, you know, it's going to be so exciting because it is going to be so exciting for some of us. But it's going to be really hard and challenging for others, you know. So you just got to keep that in mind and not get too caught up in like, I'm so lucky, I'm so lucky. You know, I mean, a lot of people aren't having to have a brain injury and lose everything. You know, they're having their own stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm so lucky. No, I had to go through a lot of shit. A lot of shit. I've gone through a lot and I've picked up the pieces and I've done the work. And, you know, so I'm going to feel good for what I've done. But I'm not going to be an egomaniac and be an asshole to people because I know where they're at. And it's a hard place to be. And it's a hard place to get hit down there and have to pull yourself up. It's very difficult. And anybody who's there, just know you can get through it. It's temporary. It is, you are challenging yourself. So don't give up. And I'll talk to you later.